Heyo.
Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 119.
119. Wow.
119.
Almost at that 120, dude.
So, is this bike behind me? Is there scuff marks on it? Is it dropped
That's
and
my old
laid
bike.
over?
It's the old bike.
Oh, what is this right here? Is that a scuff mark right there?
That bike is in mint condition. Listen,
Hmm.
I've been riding for about 20 years. I've legitimately never laid a bike down while moving. Ever.
While moving? Ever? Still to this day?
Well, no, not anymore.
Yeah? We'll
Yeah.
get into that. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and talk about it since we already broke the ice.
Sure.
So we haven't done an episode in
Right.
2 weeks. You've been gone for 2 weeks.
I have.
So, where did you go?
Yeah, so, originally supposed to go to Peru. Peru's still super shut down. So I kind of planned a last minute. One of the things I want to do in my lifetime, and is like a sure thing, is I'm going to do Alaska to Patagonia, or Patagonia to Alaska, one of those two. So I needed a bike to do it. And so, when I was looking at renting a bike here in the US, it was like $1,500 for like a pretty decent adventure bike, capable of off-road. So I was like, man, that's like a down payment. And like me and Lindsay were both going to pay $1,500. So it's like, we just said, fuck it. Like, let's get bikes. And so we both got kind of our dream bike for adventure biking, and did the kind of Southwest, which I had already done before, but like not as off-road or, kind of serious as this one was. And she had never seen it. So a lot of pretty stuff down there in the Southwest. So that's what we did.
Cool. So you had a good time on your trip. I'm assuming the weather was beautiful and everything went as planned, and your brand new bikes still look great.
Yeah,
They did the jobs really well.
You know that Darkest Dungeon quote where it's like, overconfidence is a slow, insidious killer. Like that. That was me, basically, on this trip. So my motorcycle, the BMW, came with Aniki 3 tires, which is a 90-10 tire. So that means 90% off-road, 10% off, or 90% on-road, 10% off-road.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really look into the tire. It looked okay-ish. But I've never dropped a bike. I've never felt not confident while riding, and I just, I was on top of the world. Never dropped a bike before. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I'll just go with these tires, because I knew I wanted to get new tires. I was like, I'll just go with these tires, and by the time I get back, like basically half of my back tire will be done anyways, because it's like the back tires don't last that long anyways. And so I was like, and then I'll buy new tires when I get back, because I'll just use up these. Great, no problem. And so it was day 4.
Okay.
And day 3, we'd done this like Onion Creek off-roading, and it was pretty awesome. I think I have some footage of it. I'll pull up super quick. Yeah. So we did this like Onion Creek, and like Lindsay laid her bike down the first day, and so I'm kind of dreading, like, oh my God, I hope this doesn't turn into a trip of like Lindsay drops her bike and like she's stressing out, and so I'm like,
is that where she dropped it at, right there, leaning on those rocks?
Yep.
Like how
deep sand right here on the corner.
Oh, okay.
And so we've done this the whole first day, and like I'm just on cloud 9. Like we're going like 25, 30 miles an hour, which is decent speed for off-roading, especially since Lindsay had never really off-roaded before. Mm-hmm. And just having a blast. And I was going through sand that day, and I think because it was like, it's literally just, I rolled the dice and got super lucky, because as we were going through all these rivers, like really once every half mile we were going through a river, so it was like wetting my tires, and I think that maybe gave me some grip in the sand. But like the second day, we leave Moab, and we're supposed to do what's called the White Rim Trail, which is like this really long trail that goes around, the Canyonlands National Park. And so the GPS takes us on a turn we weren't supposed to go on, and we end up going down what's called the Metal Masher.
Okay. Because it mashes the metal.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And then to make it worse, is the GPS was telling us the Metal Masher is like this whole series of off-road trails, and the GPS had not only taken us down the Metal Masher, but was saying, oh, you should do this road because it's the fastest destination. But that particular road was called the Widowmaker,
Yeah, because it kills people.
Because it literally kills people. And it's like it's top 4 like hardest off-roading you can probably do in the States. And so like we didn't see any other motorcycles, obviously. We only saw like these crazy like off-road Jeeps or like the little gator things, the 4-wheelers.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is kind of the first sample. We just kind of turned down this road, and like you can see right here in the center, it's like really bumpy. And like I'd never fallen before. So I was like, well, it's smoother on the outside.
Are you going down right here?
Oh, I'm going down.
Wait for it.
So we're just chilling, 25, 30 miles an hour, just having a good time on top of the world. You can see like I start riding the side because it's smoother, and I like my tire had not ever slipped yet.
Can't do it. You're just gonna be the deep shits on the right side.
Yeah, it's all right. And I felt a little slip right there, and right here. I just hit it.
Up. Boom.
No. And I came down really hard on my right hand, and I didn't really know it until I like clapped my hands right there. I was like, ow, shit, that hurt.
Oh man, the mood right there has got to be bad.
Yeah. And it, like, so we had a GoPro mount on the side, then it like completely broke off, which is great.
Are you okay? Pretty sandy, like.
And then, so that was the first fall. Second fall, we're going deeper into the Widowmaker.
I'm glad we got these all on camera, dude.
Yeah, super great.
And, the ass section. Wait, hold on.
So like this part is fucking, oh my god, it's just pure sand. So I feel the tire wobble there, and then it's like, I need to stand it up.
Oh no.
And normally like I've been on sand and I've been on rock, but I've never been like on sand on rock. And just like all I can really do is like give it gas and then like hope it grips, because the tires are just like the worst. And so like I wobbled here, gave it some gas, like come on, nope. And then I happened to fall into the only thorns bush out here in the desert. And I was like, maybe my entire ass is literally covered in these fucking thorns.
Nice.
Yep. But you can see like
people stop and like, you okay, bud?
Yeah.
That's the worst.
You can see like, look at that fucking sand, dude. Ugh.
You see
it's powder. So fine. But yeah. And then the worst fall, the one that like fucked up my leg, you can only catch a glimpse of it here, but it's like right up here. There I am.
Uh-oh.
And it's on a deep incline, bam. And that's the one that really fucked up my bike.
Oh man. Well, it sounds like a great trip.
Yeah,
I'm glad I missed
super fun.
No, all in all, how do you rate the experience? Was it a shitty trip or was it fun now looking back?
I wish I would have gotten tires, honestly, but it was still a great experience. I mean, those bikes they're meant to take a beating. I had properly geared it up, so I mean, the damage could have been way, way worse, but I should have spent $300 on new tires instead of like, I'm probably ultimately going to spend like $1,100 fixing my bike. And it's not like the scratches and the dings are probably going to always be there, but.
Well, you could just sell it, brand new, never ridden, right?
Nope.
But anyway. All right, man. That sounds like a fun trip, in all honesty. Not the wrecking part, but riding bikes is always a good time.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
It was funny too because I was like, "Oh no, Lindsay, like don't come down this road because it's all fucking sandy. Like turn around." And then like she just comes gliding along, like just riding on top of the sand, like no problem, barely affecting her whatsoever.
Right.
It's pretty funny. Man. Yeah, mad skills, dude.
Mad skills. Let's talk about some video games.
No.
We've got lots of stuff. While you were gone for the last 2 weeks, they broke PTR when you came back. Thanks for that.
Yeah, the day I come back, I'm like, yes, finally get to test some PTR. I played for like an hour and a half.
And it goes down. And I'm like, oh, shit, Fluff's back. They turned it off because Fluff came back. So this is this week's poll or last week's?
From
last week's, right?
3 weeks ago.
A month ago? There you go.
Let you guys vote last second. Oops. Where did I post that? Wrong keyboard. But yeah, so 3 weeks ago now, we asked, what are your thoughts on D3 PTR thus far? Option 1, poggers. Option 2, I expected more. Option 3, just right.
Expected more, probably 1.
You think?
That's what I would vote
That's
for,
what
I
you would
think,
vote?
too. Yeah, I mean, I think we got debated a little with a big balance patch
Yeah.
as comment. I think that made me expect more, especially with the length between the season. Not to say that, I don't think that they put some work in, but
Yeah, I mean, I concur. Mostly as a necro main, as like, but seriously, like, necro sets suck. Where are we at? So yeah, I did have anticipation that we would maybe see some other necro like hopefully not just the new set, but at least one of the other sets maybe being looked at. But it's what it is. So I will vote the
I mean,
same.
I felt the same about every class for the most part,
Really?
honestly.
44% says I expected more. 39 says just right, and only 16% says poggers.
Poggers. I mean, those guys that are poggers, I'm happy, man. They killed it.
Yeah,
They're happy, for them.
for sure. Yeah, probably that's like the one guys that are playing like what, Spear or God DH or
just Spear.
Hydra Wizard.
We'll talk about it because that's
Sure.
something I want to get into about the PTR.
And then the one for next week, team. Spam that one real quick. If nothing changes after the PTR, what class are you planning on starting in season 22?
Interesting.
Yeah, you can't say shit.
What are you going to start, Bluff?
No, I can't say it. I can't say it.
Definitely not.
You never know,
Yeah, he might main a witch doctor.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So switching gears really quick.
Yeah.
For Patreon, we got a shout out for G Sauce this week for being a Patreon new meta legend and hooking us up.
Hells yeah.
Being a producer on the show. So thank you, G Sauce, for hooking up that Patreon, man. Appreciate it, dude.
I love you
but
too.
The official Facebook posted November the 8th is the end of the season. Did you see this madness? I couldn't get away. This is a screenshot of the Europe Battle.net launcher, which put the screenshot up. It was on the Facebook, but the Facebook post got removed. They actually made the content private, so you couldn't see it anymore. I actually was able to pull it up and verify it last night on stream, though. It was the official. It was still live as of last night. And so Pez then responded to this with which what I think is a very honest answer. He said, "Nothing official for a date has been announced yet. The launcher image was put up by mistake. It was removed due to no confirmed date. With how the PTR has been, we want to make sure we can get all things nailed down before we come out with an exact date." I feel that's a really honest answer.
Sure.
I think if it was literally confirmed, set in stone on the 8th, he would have been like, "Yeah, man, it is." But he instead was like, "No, this is where PTR has been fucked up." So yeah, I think people are jumping the gun. I think the 8th is extremely realistic date, though. I think they could still hit that target. So I would expect an announcement this week if we're gonna get that, because it's
Is that what day you think it's gonna be?
I personally think it's going to be the 8th. I think that makes a lot of sense from a timetable perspective. If you pull up a calendar and start looking at launch date timing, it's the 13th or the 20th is the best dates to launch season 22. The 13th is Friday the 13th for one. If that's not, a Diablo date to launch, I think that's a pretty cool one. But if the season ended on the 8th, they could patch on the 10th, which would be Tuesday, and that gives them 3 days to the 13th, and then they could roll the season out. And we have seen that before. We have seen them hit the patch and then hit their launch the same week. I think personally the 20th would be a better day now because of a lot of reasons, which I'm going to talk about those later too. But the Xbox drops on the 10th and the PlayStation on the 12th, and all these new games for that. And so if you had it drop on Friday the 13th, which a new Call of Duty game comes out that day, plus you only have 2 days to test the patch if something's wrong. So if you push it back to the 20th, you get 10 days for the patch to fix bugs and hopefully catch any major exploits people find.
Which one do you pick if you had to pick one?
Now I would pick the 20th as of this moment. Earlier this morning at 8 a.m., I would have picked the 13th. So, but my reasoning is very skewed because Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed yet again for like the 50 millionth time.
Who?
And that was supposed to drop on the 19th. So,
Yeah, I mean,
so
I
now
would.
that that's pushed back, I don't think it's a big. There's nothing launching that week, so it'll be a great week to throw it in.
I definitely would prefer 13th, and I agree with like the Friday the 13th would be very Diablo.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen a lot. Also, the 27th is like, well, that's Thanksgiving. But then again, they did July 4th weekend. So what's going to
That's
stop
what I
them
thought
from?
too. But I thought the same thing. I'm like, then they did do July 4th. Thanksgiving's a bigger holiday than the 4th of July, I feel like. And a
Depends
lot of
if you're
people
like to blow
probably
stuff
have
up or
time
not, I
off.
guess.
Yeah, and it's like those guys, and so a lot of people are around the world are like, nobody cares. That's an American holiday. But Blizzard's headquarters is in the United States. It's in California. The employees that develop the game are in Cali. The servers deployment team is in Cali. Like all these guys work in the United States, and they're going to want to celebrate that holiday. So I just think that puts extra pressure for them not to do it on that day, especially if things go wrong and they need people to come fix stuff. Like everybody's like, "Yo, man, I'm eating turkey right now. What are you talking about?" You know. So unless maybe they get that overtime money,
It's still an
I don't know.
American holiday though. So what do they care?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I would agree that there's no way they would do it on, and it's Black Friday on top of that. I don't think that there's any way they would do it on Black Friday, except for the fact that they launched on 4th of July this year. So clearly they don't care. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
here's the reason I ask, right? I'll be gone for
Oh,
Thanksgiving. So
okay. Yeah, definitely going to happen
that's the day.
on Black Friday, Chad. It's going to be the 27th of November, guaranteed, locked in stone.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
man.
would definitely prefer the 13th because that gives 2 weeks of solid Paragon grinding before I just like lose the battle because I have to leave town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maintain rank 1, chill, be fun.
The 13th would be cool. I don't have a beef with either date. If I had to pick, the 20th gives us, more time to play with all the new toys that are dropping before the season hits hard. But a lot of people aren't interested in that, so I understand that's just a personal, selfish reason. The 20th works out very well now for me, but either one's cool. I just am concerned about them only having 2 days to fix bugs if they plan on launching the season that Friday. Like the PTR better be pretty stable. I don't know about you. I don't know how much you got to play it. I have had my client crash every single day while playing PTR.
Mm-hmm.
My client just randomly closes and I get this error box. I've never had that happen on retail. I don't think ever. And it's happened every single time, every single day I've played on
That
the
was the
PTR. So if I were
thing that
trying to play hardcore, man.
that was the thing that I felt was odd when they took it down because like historically PTR has been pretty bad, like performance wise, like awful even. So when they're like, oh, we're gonna take it down to fix the performance issues, like I was like crashing. I think I crashed once in those 2 hours that I got to play. But I was just like, why? Like, just let it be shitty, like it always is. I was actually kind of surprised that they took it down.
Maybe there was worse than that. I think people couldn't log in too. They were having login issues and all kinds of. And then I think some of the legendary weapons weren't available. I think there's some things where you couldn't get some of the items. Like somebody was saying they upgraded like 5,000 times to try to get the mojo or something. They couldn't get it. So maybe there was more going on behind the scenes than we know.
Probably.
But I don't think I've ever experienced executable crashes like that from Diablo, and it's happened 10 times in this PTR. Like every day I played it, I'm pretty sure it crashed at least once, if not twice or 3 times. And like I said, I've never had that before, so it's kind of weird.
Never had that on PTR?
Not on PTR.
Huh.
I've never had the game really crash.
I feel like
that.
People forget like how bad PTR is every time around.
No, I mean, and I played a little bit of the last one.
It's always like the Wild West, dude.
Yeah, I've played this PTR more than any other one. I feel like though, like I played like a full season. I feel like in this PTR, so maybe that's it. Maybe my playtime was up a lot higher too on it. So, but as far as the PTR goes, like feedback for the PTR, do you have? Like I tested a lot of things. I guess I'll let you start. I'm assuming you tested Necro. Did you try other things too, or just Necro stuff?
I actually did try Monk and Crusader and Barb.
Okay. So let me hear your feedback. You've heard mine already before from the round one, and then I'll give my thoughts on the second round of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to touch Wizard Hydra seemed like wow, that's a good change. It's more powerful. I don't know that it's still fun to play, but it's more it's stronger, which is great. The thing that's so annoying to me about Witch Doctor and Barb is, and even DH, is like people get on to PTR and they literally just play what's on live, and so we don't really get to see the value of the new changes because like the leaderboards are just full of people like, oh, I'm going to get on and play Moon Danugu again, or I'm going to get on and play Whirlwind Barb. Like that drives me crazy. Anyways, but
yeah, I will, and I think in defense of those guys, because I did that with Mundanugo a little bit, is I hadn't played it in a couple seasons, and getting the extra cube slot, it's like, oh, let's see what we can throw in here and test it. Yeah. So that's kind of like, but so I understand. That's why we need leaderboard filters. Again, just another argument for leaderboard filters.
But yeah, so I got on Necromancer first because obviously that's kind of my jam. I was actually really excited, and we talked about 3 weeks ago, like, oh, maybe the 4th cube slot will be permanent, and I think that's exciting. It could spice things up. But then when I was like, I'm going to spend all afternoon, and we're going to make some new exciting Necro builds, it's just like, well, really just put a Shadow Hook in every build I've ever made, and that's it. And so that was really like, man, like that's kind of disappointing because like we're locked into basically Shadow Hook unless the build was already using Shadow Hook, which was rare.
It's because Necro's just weapons are so good.
Yeah, and so I'm assuming it was maybe more exciting for other classes, but for Necro it was very like, oh, well, like this is.
And every build was a Legacy of Dreams, I'm assuming.
No, I mean obviously the Bone Spear build is not.
Yeah, that's like the only one.
But Pestilence is very strong at speed farming. It's probably the fastest T16 Necro has now. So yeah, I mean that was exciting to like go back to playing Pestilence or Autolance or whatever you want to call it. Super fucking strong. You literally just run and everything dies. You never stop porting. So that's cool. But that's really like honestly the only thing new that came out of it besides, the Bone Spear being now S tier and really, really good. Yeah. Even after the nerf, like, oh my gosh, it's still really, really good.
Yeah. Well, the nerf wasn't even that much. Honestly.
Yeah. And I really wonder if they'll keep it this way because it is statistically like it's just more consistent than anything the Necros probably has ever had, and it's easier to play than maybe anything the Necros ever had, easier to get into maybe than anything the Necros ever had. So yeah, I'll be curious to see if they nerf it again.
I think this is a good move for Blizzard, at least for one season. I think it's okay to leave it how it is for one season.
Maybe.
And I think it does a couple things. I think it's a tankier build for Necro comparatively to like anything they've ever had.
Yeah.
So it brings a lot of people that are like, man, Necro is so glass cannon, I can't take it, I can't play it. And I think it'll bring a lot of those people in. And then also it's their pay to win class. Like you gotta spend money to play it. So it's good for them from financial reasons. And it's going to be super powerful as long as this seasonal theme is in existence. Whether that moves forward permanently forever or not, this season is super juicy for it. So their power is going to drop next season if that cube slot goes away. So I think this is a good season. It's okay to leave it a little juiced up, in my opinion. Something needs to be, and I'm okay with where it's at. It's crazy powerful, but it's not like it's on the verge of broken powerful, but not quite there yet. I don't think, but it's close.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I think before the nerf, you can make a pretty decent speed farm build out of just like one Spear Necro in the group, which is exciting. Like you can have a Spear Necro, you can have a support Monk, support Barb, and a Z DH. And there's actually like a pretty decent meta. It's not going to be as good as Rat Runs, but it's different. And I would probably play that anyways. I don't care about the the 1 minute lost time or whatever. It's going to add up, but still.
As long as it's fun. The thing is, it's variety. You could still make a rat set. You could still make a Bone Spear set. And you could just, hey, I did rats for an hour. This is getting boring. Let's switch it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me switch my playstyle.
Right.
And I think so, one of the things that I hit on with Necro is I think Necro is the most, it has the most variations of the season to keep it fresh. Like right now, there's so many things you can do on a Necro that other classes seem to be super locked into a set or maybe two. But
How's Necro different?
Necro's got for speed farming, you could do the auto lance, you could do singularity mages. Those are both extremely good builds. You could even do the bone spear T16 speeds. So it's got 3 super viable sets for T16s. And then you can pick kind of whatever you want. They also have rat runs for metas. You could do bone spear for trash clear for metas, I think too. And then you could do poison scythe trash clear for more metas. You could do poison scythe solo. You could do bone spear solo pushes. They got T16 or greater rift speed farms. They have bone spear for that, and then I'm sure there's a million other builds there that I haven't even touched. You know what I mean? So Necro has all these different sets that you can kind of play and switch. You got Z Necro for doing rat runs if you want to do that too. So they have these different play styles you can flip into. But if like you go Witch Doctor, what are you playing? That's it. That's all you're playing. Like even with these new sets, if you go Crusader, like you don't have as much choice. Like so maybe you play Bomb Crusader speeds now, even though they nerfed it. I'm not really sure where it sits because they never reset leaderboards. What the hell?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Necro's got a really good. I think it's going to be a good season for them. I think they're in a good spot. Like they still need love on all their sets. Like I'm with you on that. Like every set, pretty much.
I mean, I see it from the like. Okay, well, yeah, Mage is super good for T16. Auto Lance is super good for T16. You probably wouldn't play Bone Spear in T16. It'd be much slower than those other two. And then in GR, just for speed, like yeah, there's options, but I mean, Bone Spear is going to outperform literally everything by like 10 GR. So like you're not going to play anything but Bone Spear. Yeah. And then when you push, like Poison Scythe is good and it's strong, but it's going to get outperformed by Bone Spear. So everyone's going to be playing Bone Spear. So when you say like I mean, yes, I get the versatility from like, okay, maybe you can go into groups, but like from a solo player perspective, I mean, 2 T16 builds, 1 GR speed build, and 1 push build, it doesn't sound that exciting to me. I mean, last season I think was a bit more exciting because you had a bit more options because there wasn't one particular build that outweighed everything.
But, yeah. It's. I think it's still better than any other class. I don't think of it like what other class. I mean, Demon Hunter. It's God DH for everything.
But like you're saying, it's better in the sense that Bone Spear is so powerful. If Bone Spear was the same as it was last season, we wouldn't be talking about. You wouldn't be excited about Necro. It's just like the OP-ness. That's what you get engaged by.
I think it's the cube. I think it's the extra cube that brings it back up because it makes the singularity better. It makes the auto lancer better.
But at the same time, it's just like more damn. It's like the Bone Spear build getting the bracers. It's like the most least exciting change that can happen. It's just more damage. It's not changing how we play. It's nothing.
I'm super excited about Bone Spear. I don't think Bone Spear is what's getting me hot and bothered. I think
right, but that's what I'm saying. Like there's a cross class. Everyone's getting the Shadow Hook, and Shadow Hook is just more damage, and that's not exciting either. So like nothing's really changing for the Necro ultimately.
Okay.
But anyway, that's
I agree. It doesn't change. I just think that it has more variety. Maybe because I haven't played it in a while too. Maybe it's been 3 seasons since I played it. Maybe if I was like you and I played Necro every single season, I'd be like, this sucks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not enough. You know what I mean? But to me, so like from my perspective, like I played DH in season 21. And so I look at it like DH is going to be better next season than it even is in season 21 because they're getting the extra cube slot. DH has the most ridiculously broken T16
How is God
build
not
I've ever seen
at all.
I don't know. And maybe they will. I mean, we haven't got final patch notes, but I don't know if you've, you were hanging out a little bit in stream today. I don't know if you noticed how fast those God 16s were. I'm literally like not even paying attention to the rift. And I'm running around at 1 billion times % speed. It's stupid broken.
I tell you why that bothers me so much, right? Is because you literally took the class image of the Barb and you just made it better on the DH. Like if I'm a Barb, I'm fucking pissed right now.
Yeah.
It's super.
So I actually like the set. My problem with it is that it's so good it eliminates every other T16 build in the game. If I'm playing a wizard, I'm like, why am I
auto lance any day? Any day.
Like why you're not gonna touch the God DH. I'll race you. We can do this. We can have a 10 GR race. or 10 a 10 T16 race.
Do it.
So but if I'm playing a wizard, I'm gonna be doing 16s, and I'm gonna go like, why am I doing this? I'm just gonna make a god DH, and in base gear, I could still farm faster. I'm like, I could if I'm on a satyr, if I'm on a barb, if I'm whatever class I'm on, I'm just sitting here thinking like, dude, this is cool, but I can go 2 times as fast on a god DH. So I'm gonna play that just for my key farming, or I need to farm GR 105s for gem ups or GR 100s. I'm gonna get on a god DH and do them in 2 minutes because it's so good. And then so the problem isn't that I dislike the set. I like the set. The problem is the set's so much better than everything else. It makes me not want to play anything else because it's inefficient.
And it's Bone Spirit to me.
Yeah. So it's a problem that I don't know how they fix, because if they nerf the speed of the god DH or they nerf the damage, then people get upset and it feels bad. It literally feels bad to go slower. But if you buff everything up to the god DH's levels, then it's like ludicrous. It's like, okay, so now what's the point of the game? We're literally zooming around. We might as well be farming T1 because there's no consequences. Like Torment's just a joke at this point. You know? I don't know how they fix that.
Yeah. But to touch back to the Necro, ultimately my number one piece of feedback, or two pieces of feedback. One is we still don't have a spammable rune on Command Skeletons that's poison. Like we need that for Nair's Black Death. Two is we've been asking for bracers since the dawn of time, and I don't think that anyone in their mind thought, I really want a bracer that just gives me more damage. Like just take that bracer back out of the game and put that damage on the set and let us wear Nemesis, because that is the least interesting item you've ever added.
I can't say I disagree with that. I do think it does suck to take Nemesis off for a flat damage buff, because that damage buff could have been added literally in any piece, like the Bone Spear weapon that you're going to wear anyways. Like you could have just thrown it on there, and then you could have made the bracers do something else differently.
Yeah,
cool. Like get a third simulacrum. Maybe instead of getting, the flat damage, maybe you get a third pet. I don't know, man.
Right. And that's one of the things you and I have talked about many times, is like throwing on a legendary shouldn't be like, well, I have to, right? It's like, I want to play differently than I normally do. Like I want to throw these bracers on because it's really good for T16. I won't use them for pushing or whatever. Like that's an interesting and exciting choice. Not like I have to.
Yeah. And you get this, and I think that's something that I've been playing a lot of the Shadowlands pre-patch in WoW recently, and there's talent choices now on a couple tiers on like DK. I was playing my DK. There's talent choices on the DK where I'm like, fuck, I want all three of these things. But you have to make that choice. And it's like, well, in some scenarios I want this one, in some scenarios I want that one. And that's a really awesomely shitty feeling to have, because you're like, dude, I don't know what I want. And it's bad because they're both so good. You're like, I want them both, And so it'd be cool to kind of have that. And Nemesis kind of already has that. You're like, well, I need Nemesis because it's progression and you want those pylon spawns. So if there was something else that was a choice, I guess your choice is, do you want pylon spawns or do you want 500% damage? Or 400, I guess now. Yeah. So but I'm with you, man. There could have been other things
totally
to juice it up.
But then moving on to, I played some Barb. I will admit that, I didn't play anything meta. My goal to get on these other classes is just like, what can we make that's like kind of fun that you can speed on, or what did they buff that I find exciting? So, I got on the Barb to test the, not necessarily leap quake changes per se, but like I played some Volcano Barb, which is very dependent on those damage modifiers, and it was playable.
Yeah, I played the leap quake a little bit. It was very leap quake-ish. It's strong. It gets so old so fast.
I agree. But again, if we're coming into this game like as a fresh player, I honestly think that's maybe one of the more interesting builds to go as a noob, like 100%.
It's fun for a couple days, and then you'll realize, dude, fighting this leap mechanic, it gets so frustrating at times. And then once you'll play something different, like, okay, bye. It was fun. Yeah. It's so iconic though. I think the game's iconic skills to me are like Whirlwind is a huge iconic Barb, identifier, and then Leap Quake is also like, those two things are like huge in the game, and they both belong to Barb. So it's cool that it's viable. I'm with you.
Yeah, I like the last minute buff damage to the Elite Quake. That's like a good play. I also tried the Crusader, but I wanted to try Crusader Valor the way that I think it was intended, which was the beams from the beams from the sky and Fisher.
Wait, so that was your challenge rift this week? Damn it, I knew it was you.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, it was
horrible. It Fires or Fists or no?
It was Fists of Heaven from the sky.
Fists of Heavens, and then what's the other thing? Heaven's Fury, was that coming from the sky?
I don't even think they might have had Heaven's Fury in the build, but you didn't use it. They had pony. They had the pony weapons with the Fist of Heavens.
And I think that there's a really, not necessarily, I shouldn't say the word easy fix, but there's a good fix there, is that like players are always going to be gravitated towards the Holy Shotgun. But what they could do is like massively buff all the other runes on Heaven's Fury. Like massively.
I think it breaks things though. I think like when the pillars come from the sky, I think they cause lag when you start getting too many things.
Over the Fissures? The Fissures cause lag.
Fissures 100% breaks though. 100%. But the Fissures just give you your essence back. So your play style around that is to put the Fissures at the edge so they only hit a couple guys and they don't lag you out.
Yeah.
But if your damage actually came from that thing, then I don't know. You know, maybe I don't know. I haven't tested it. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm like, I don't know if they can handle that. You know, but I agree with you. It would be cool to have other options, even if shotgun ends up being better. The other ones be usable.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And that goes back to like, you know, I really wanted originally to see like a Bone Spirit on kill on the Bone Spear set. I think that would have been really cool. Obviously, when you think about like, okay, in a large pack, that's massive lag in like a GR group setting. If you get like the whole like map pulled up and then you like kill everything and then a bunch of Bone Spirits pop at once, that's like be a ton of lag. But they could always like, one of the things that I feel like they didn't maybe like go into is like they could cap that. Like it could be like, it can only happen like 5 times.
Or just have it be like your mages, where after you get 10, it just refreshes and gives you new ones.
Yeah, something. Like they could cap how much it can happen.
Yeah. I think Necro is one of the coolest class ideas ever in any video game franchise, because you're literally bringing things back from the dead and the possibilities are endless. It would be cool if they would work on more of I kind of like more permanent style pets too that don't fade away and die. So I think it would be cool to be able to amass this army, and this army stays with you for a while somehow.
Yeah.
So
Rathma rework. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then I tried the Crusader. I think they should just buff all the other Heaven's Fury runes. It was very strong. I never tried the bomb. I have no idea how that performs. That playstyle just didn't.
I was waiting for them to clear leaderboards, and I never saw the clear. So if they did clear it, I missed that window. But I checked like every day, pretty much, and I never saw that clear happen. So it's really hard to say how they perform after the nerf. Although they got nerfed really hard. I don't think it was enough to completely break the set. I think it's still going to be pretty good. I don't know if it's going to be better than Valor's of Justice set. It might be. It might not be. I don't really know. But it's definitely nerfed. It's not as strong as it was. The play style is easier to play after the changes too, because now they cap your stacks from the way it worked before. Is you would have your invoker set on, and you go stand in a bunch of things, and they would swing at you.
Stacks, yeah.
You hope you stand in a bunch of things and hope that you block the attack, and then when you block the attack, you get a stack. So when you would just literally stare at your buff counter when you got your stacks to 25 or 30 or something, then you would pop your Crusader bomb and blow everything up. Now they've capped those stacks at 10. So it's a lot easier to get the stacks. So once you see 10, you just press the button, which happens more frequently. So it's a thing. I didn't test Invoker after the 6-piece change to see if it's really good again. It looked like it might be a decent build after they buffed it, but it's hard. Like Diablo math never makes sense. So
yeah,
unless you played it, I wouldn't know.
And then I played Monk just for Juliana. Okay. I did really enjoy Juliana.
Yeah.
As a play style. And so I put in, the Mad Stone and the 2-hand thing and all that stuff. And it was fun. Like, honestly, I was doing 95s pretty easily. But it just needs more, probably. And honestly is still squished. I mean, I could put more defensive things in there instead of like going full speed farm. But I mean, I like the playstyle. It was super fun. I think the speed farm version of Yulian is maybe one of the most fun ways you can probably play Diablo. It's very satisfying, right? Like corpse explosion versus exploding palm.
Yeah, like when you think about metas and you think about in the higher push metas or gym up farming, people are doing 130s, 140s. To me, Uliana's is like the ultimate trash clear set. You're putting bombs on everything and blowing it up. And I don't understand how that's never been the thing. Like it's never been it's been forever. If it has been good, it's been so
it was
long.
really early.
I mean, I don't even remember it. And when it was a thing, it was like season 2 or 3 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I played it back then. I think I was still on my Crusader juice. So I kind of missed out on that window. But I was really banking and hoping for some Uliana buffs. The toughness looked pretty sick. Like they juiced the toughness up quite a bit. The damage, I don't see how that's going to be there. Like it still looks like it's lacking. So maybe they'll add a little more damage before the notes go live. But I don't think the play style single target seems like it would be horrible on that set too. Like killing a Rift Guardian thing, like I can just imagine how much fun that wouldn't be.
You do hit kind of fast though, and you have a generator, so not only do you have the 7-sided strike going off to apply stricken, but you also have like fast generator. It's not that bad.
Okay.
I mean, it's like as bad as you would expect from any build that can push really high versus single target,
Yeah. I think that would be fun. If they could fix if single target's an issue. I haven't played it, so I'm only just, thinking in my head how it would feel. But if single target feels bad, if they maybe put like a only hits one target modifier for Rift Guardians, that'd be kind of cool. Or just get the damage juiced up. So where it's group playable. That'd be fun. Like it seems like such a fun build. So
yeah, there's the lag issue with that as well when you get a giant pack together though.
I'm sure. Is it like it's kind of satisfying to get the game breaking lag for a second when you're
especially for EP.
Yeah, like when you're getting the EP bomb, or you're getting the meteor, or you're getting the Mundanugo explosion, like those big 1 second of lag as the screen erases. That's actually very satisfying, and I like it.
One thing I will complain about, then you just made me think of it, is you have to manually apply the EP to get the mitigation. I didn't like that because there's that item that lets you apply it with 7-sided strike.
I also heard there's no counter to track it either.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is even worse. And then isn't there a passive skill that you have to manipulate, like punching something 3 times to prime
Mythic
it?
Rhythm,
yeah.
But
How
I mean,
feel? I haven't played it, so I don't know.
To
how does that feel? Is that a good thing? It's a skill cap, and it's going to reward players who are good, or does it just feel like,
yeah, I think honestly, like I honestly used to enjoy that. Like when back before I was streaming, it was kind of like right before I started streaming. It was like the era of Yuliana and like the Mythic Rhythm pushes and the snapshotting. It was pretty interesting because there's a lot going on in a Yuliana push. It's a little different now that you can't snapshot as well as you used to. Like you could like zone before and capture it and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean it's interesting. It's different, right? That's ultimately what it's tedious.
Yeah, it's different. I guess I haven't played it enough to know how it works. So it's hard for me to judge if it's a fun snapshot or if it's like this is almost exploiting level and it's not fun. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely a line there. It's like if you're having to switch levels and do weird things to get it, I think that's broken the boundaries of spirit of the game. But skill gap, if it's there, that's cool.
Yeah.
What about did you test anything else?
Not a monk. Everything else kind of just felt underwhelming. I wanted to touch Witch Doctor Zombie Bears, but I was just like, man, I've just played this and I didn't necessarily remember Zombie Bears fondly, but I didn't love it enough. Like I did Yuliana to really want to put it together and re-roll items and stuff on PTR.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the big determinants for me. Like I tested a lot of builds, and eventually after 4 or 5 or 6 builds, you're like, okay, I'm so done with re-rolling gear for an hour to try to get,
why
things.
What do you think about this? Why not all primals on PTR? Honestly.
Yeah, man. I say the same thing. Like I said, why not all primals? Why not give us gems that are all like, dude, I'm on. Okay, this is going to take me into a rant because I've played so much, but we're on PTR to test mechanics and to test power.
Not crafting.
And so
Right.
Not I don't want to farm PTR. Like I actually looked my time up. I had like as of today somewhere in like the 36 or 37 hour range on PTR. And like that's a lot of testing of to play a character that doesn't matter. Like it's literally just throwing the time away. And so I know a lot of people tested way more than that even. But 40 hours of PTR playtime. And I would say most of it was spent re-rolling gear and farming up legendaries.
Yeah.
And it's like, why give me all the legendary gems at 100 or whatever at the cap, whatever, give me it to me at the cap. Let me buy them from Dank Meme, give him a second page, give us a second vendor that sells the gems for that thing. And then give us the Lobby gems to re-roll items because we don't have those either.
True.
Or put puzzle rings into the fortune bag so we can like
The
pop.
puzzle rings are in the jewelry bag.
Are they every time?
Okay.
Yes. I don't think I saw that or noticed that. But puzzle rings to get gems. There's just so many little things where it's like, fuck, man. Now, I don't have a enforcer gem leveled up. Let me go grind one of those. Oh, I don't have simplicity. And like you think, oh, what if I threw this gem in? And then you're like, oh, it's at level 1.
Level it.
So yep, nope, not doing that. There's many times where I thought like, oh, I'm not like I've had an idea and I'm like, oh, not gonna do that because I have to go level more gems. So
yeah, totally.
So I get it. Like Dank Meme is like the best addition to the game. I think they've added in the PTR is for PTR quality of life, the bags of fortune that give the things.
Totally.
It's really good, man. They are in the right direction with that. We just need to take it to the next step. We need to have access to everything, the gems, all the gem levels, primal items, like you're saying, so we don't have to re-roll for days. And then, because if you realize your character's full primals, you're going to take it down. You're going to be like, okay, well, this is performing super high, so you can knock a couple tiers off for the extreme gear and see where they're at.
Yeah, I think those are the two things at minimum that kind of would cut our time so much. Is if everything's primal, it stops becoming a reroll simulator that is PTR, which is really dull and just like eats at you, like it just exhausts you really. And then 2 is the legendary gems. Just like not even they don't even have to be. I don't even want them to be 150s, but like level 100 legendary gems.
Yeah, 100s are fine.
Yeah,
that's fine because we're already going to have primals. So I'm not even worried about augmenting my items if I have full primals.
Exactly.
But I want the gems just to throw in the gear to test the builds. It's like, oh, I need an invigorating gemstone, or oh, I need a whatever, man, stricken. Yeah. Like I don't want to have to go level those up. I did all my testing with level 25 gems. Once I got a gem to 25, I was like, I'm done. Like I'm not leveling this thing anymore.
Yeah. But chat's saying all ancients wouldn't solve it though. Like you'd still be there. You're like, okay, I got 7%. I got 8%. I got 9%. I got 7%. Like we got to get the primals so we can get that first 10 jar. Within 50 rolls.
With a primal item, the most you're going to reroll is like 10, 15 times. You got the roll you need.
Yep.
So, and then on top of that, if you drop 6 of the same item, you're going to have, a chance of getting what you need. Totally. So I get it. That we should also Paragon cap, I think too. At some, I don't know. There's things.
Those are the 2 minimum, right? Those are just those are
2 minimum. I don't, but they may not have a switch to make primal drop rates 100%.
Yeah. I get it.
What if they screwed up and then pushed it live? You're like, oh shit.
Season of Primals, unintended.
Standing in town for an hour. Just 1 hour of the season start.
What would you do if you started the season and like Dank Memes was like in town?
Oh my god. Shit. Well, okay, so you would instantly do your challenge rift, so you had those blood shards, right? And then you would buy
Bags of Fortune.
You would buy the set bag for your class and a bag of fortune.
I would just buy bags of fortune because that value. Oh my god.
True. Because you get all the reroll math. Yeah. Just bags of fortune for days. You'd spend everything on bags of fortune. Yeah. Would you I wouldn't even fuck with non-season though. I would try to level to max level before they got rid of it.
Oh yeah.
So I could keep doing bags of fortune.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I don't care about non-season, man. I'm gonna be like fucking bags of fortune. Yeah, that would be insane.
Right. We'd all be pogging out for blood shard goblins and stuff.
Oh my god! Yeah, you see a blood shard goblin.
Get in here now!
You're like, oh my god, blood shard goblin! Christian Bale is the best.
Yeah.
It's that's kind of the big determinant. There was a lot of things that I thought of and I wanted to play on PTR, and just the thought of going, I'm like, man, I gotta get and then some of the things aren't even in the bags from the guy. So then you're crafting items and upgrading. So I don't know. I know it's probably really hard to keep up to date with all the items in the bags for all the classes. Like you got to figure there's 9 classes, there's 9 different bags they got to fill up with every single piece of loot. So maybe there's just more ways to do it. Maybe we make the bags ring bags, bracer bags, belt bags, chest bags. Like, make a bag for every single armor slot, and then it would be better. And then your set bags too. I don't know.
They could fix that with just like literally every time you reforge is guaranteed primal. Instead of like having a primal vendor, like you just like every single time you reforge something is primal. And then you're wasting some time being like, this belt's not on the vendor, but like you're gonna upgrade some rares, you're gonna get it, and then you're gonna reroll it like once, and it's gonna be probably decent.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is PTR is not. You're not playing PTR for fun. You're not playing PTR for the game. You're playing PTR literally to test. And so anything we can do to maximize the testing time. Like if I spend 40 hours in PTR, I don't want 25 of those hours to be rerolling.
38 hours to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like 38 of the 40. Because when you have an idea, you want to just test it. You want to just go in, slap the gear on, and boom, let's see what happens. So, but I tested Wizard. I tested the Twister Wizard with the changes. It felt much better the second iteration, the second time around. I ended up playing the Legacy of Dreams version of it. I don't know if there are other ones, but I played a Legacy of Dreams build, and it felt pretty good. It was definitely did some damage. It had the toughness. It was a thing. I still think it still, I don't know, man. It still didn't, for some reason, check off all the boxes for me, but I think it was in the right direction. I think it's enough to get by for the season, but I don't think the set is something that you're like, yo, this is amazing. I can't wait to play this. I don't think it's going to make you play Wizard this season, at least myself. And I don't think it fixes any of the really big issues that Wizard has in general. I don't think it fixes like their T16 builds suck. Their speed farming builds really aren't on par. And I blame God DH for that somewhat, because some of the Wizard T16 builds this season will be okay. Like Frozen Orb's okay, and some EB Wizard things and Chantotos that people have come up with, they're okay. But then there's these couple outliers that are just crazy fast. And so it makes them feel much worse. So I hope Wizard still gets looked at more. But Energy Twister was okay. Hydra Wizard, I didn't even mess with it. Man, Hydra has this Death Wish bug thing where you can like stutter step Death Wish, and it works like you remember the old Crusader stutter step on the shotgun we had? It works similar to that, where there's like some kind of bug where you can get the multiplier from Death Wish to stack up multiple times if you stutter step it. And so I didn't even mess with it because I know about that bug. I'm like, well, this is stupid. I don't want to play this. I'm not even interested in it. But on top of that, I don't think the play style is super fun. I played Hydra in the first PTR go around. It was the first wave. It was okay. I didn't enjoy the play style personally. So
yeah, SVR, like I asked him what would be because he's like Mr. Wizard main.
Yeah,
I asked him like what the number one change he would do for Wiz, and he's like delete Death Wish. Like literally, it would like improve the class.
Yeah. Wizard's like just channel. Yeah. Zombie Bears. I played Zombie Bears. It needs, so Zombie Bears is an interesting set from like a conceptual standpoint. It needs more damage. It needs more toughness. The bears get caught on fucking everything. If there's like a rock on the ground, the bears stop. So they need to go through walls and objects. They need to get whatever, modifier or flag those bears need to go through objects. Please put that on them. They get caught on pylons, corners, everything. Other than that, it just needs more damage and a little bit more toughness, I feel like. And it would be a playable set. It would be an okay set. Crusader, like we said, there was no ladder reset, so I don't know where it's pushing. The set's easier to play now since the nerf. So if it's still strong, then cool. Witch Doctor, I tried the chicken build again because I think chicken would be a fun I like T16 builds, man, and I think chicken would be a fun one conceptually. Again, they didn't do it like that little chicken it spawns every second sucks. Like that doesn't do anything. It doesn't help you at all. It might do a little damage, but it's not going to fix the problems the build has. And the problems are the damage explosion radius isn't big enough, and it doesn't guaranteed one-shot the elites, even with some pristine gear, because if they're spread out or it doesn't crit or for some reason, if you're just whatever, it just doesn't do it. So it's still pretty garbage. Mundanugo is better in every single way. There's no reason you would ever run chicken over Mundanugo. So until they make more changes to it, I don't see it being viable.
Yeah.
And I guess
So
that's it.
talk
I
to
think we
me.
covered most of
Yeah, that's pretty much all the class stuff. Talk to me about your impression of the clones.
it. Man, that's such a loaded question. I think the clones are a cool idea in general. I think it's like, oh, this is a cool idea. Let's do it. But then in reality, you don't even notice it. You like it depends on what class you're playing, first off. Like Necro, for example, gets the big spider looking things, that beast that he sends out. I don't remember what that skill's called.
Final embrace.
Those are pretty noticeable and pretty, Diablo-ish feeling. And it's like, oh, that's cool. My clone's casting this skill that I've never really used before. It looks really cool, right? But if you get on like Witch Doctor, you don't even notice him. You can't even see him because the skills he's casting just blend in with all the other shit you have going on the screen, and you don't even see it. Like I don't notice him. If I'm playing a wizard, I notice him because he fires the Cyclops beam, the Disintegrate beam, and so you'll notice him. You'll see where he's standing. But the thing is when you hit a pylon, you become stronger anyways, right? So if you hit a conduit or you hit a power, things instantly just start dying faster because you've had that power pylon. So now you have this shadow clone that's helping you kill stuff, but you don't really notice the power because you've already got that power creep from the pylon too. So it's cool. It's an okay theme. I don't think it's this season wouldn't be near as exciting without the 4th cube slot. I think that makes the season. I think this seasonal theme is just kind of like an asterisk, like, oh, and there was these shadow clones this season.
The
But I
one,
felt a lot of time was spent on it.
yeah.
So it feels bad to say that because I know a lot of time was spent on it, and I think the idea is really cool, and I think it was a really good attempt. So I don't want to come off like I'm shitting on it because I think it's really cool that they did it and tried it.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed right away is it didn't like their damage didn't really make sense. Like obviously there's different clones and different clones do different damage, but even when you get like the same clone, you're like, oh shit, I got the one that's like Final Embrace. He's gonna do some damn.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was really hard to understand how their damage scaled at all. Like it just seemed to be like just totally random. Like whether you're in a Torrent 16 or a GR 100.
It seems to just mess things up and wreck shop until you get to like 120, and then it's like, oh, now we're gonna taper off at 120, and it's like there's almost some mechanic put in place to keep them from being abused for the 150s. I feel like, but
yeah, maybe like a rapid scale off after 150, or maybe it just scales up that fast after 120. So
it could be, yeah. But it's I don't know, like, how are your overall impressions about it? Like, how do you feel about, like, do you like it? Do you not like it?
It's a gimmick at the end of the day, and that's not necessarily a negative thing. It's something that I think some people might enjoy. I've for one never been a huge fan of like the gimmick stuff. I think that the 4th cube slot is probably exciting enough, but I don't know. It will change. Like, if it's strong enough to kill RGK, like that's a strong consideration for builds that are really good at clearing. Like you can maybe play like a Nova Death Nova Necro and just rely on that guy to kill your RG or whatever.
Or what if you don't get the pylon at the end?
Or you save. You 100% save, right? Like you save like a couple just to kill the. I mean, that changes your way of playing.
Yeah, you clear the level and then you got to back like it's not there. Yeah, so. But I'm with you.
Yeah, one is the one big feedback is like no one really seems to understand like how their damage scales, and I think that maybe like it would be reveal itself throughout the season, but
I think it got data mined or some shit. I think somebody posted the code. I saw it somewhere. Somebody data mined it somehow, and it was ridiculous. It was like a string of.
To me, there were just like so many weird things. Like sometimes they seem to not zone with you. Sometimes they just stand there.
Yeah, they are buggy.
Yeah,
I've had them bug out and like flicker on top of my character. I've seen videos of people getting other classes shadows.
I 100% get that. I get the DH one all the time as a necro.
Do you? Yeah, I haven't had that happen to me personally. At least not that I've noticed. I've had them stand there and not cast anything, just literally just stand there the whole time. So they are buggy, and that sucks. But at the end of the day, I think it's like you said, it's kind of gimmicky. but I don't want to give off a negative impression because I actually think it was a cool idea. They tried to think outside the box. They tried to give us something that wasn't, just, oh, here's convention of elements for the season, or here's Traveler's Pledge Compass Rose for the season, or whatever. And it ultimately, I think, didn't work out like we wanted it to. But I think the effort, I guarantee the effort was put into it, because making those clones and coding all the skills and coding the damage and all the shit that went into that, just from, if you think about a development standpoint, like, that's effort that went into the game and was made with good intention.
Sure.
It just fell short. So that's why I feel really bad to say, like, no, man, this isn't that good, because I know somebody busted their ass trying to make that. So
the one big piece of feedback probably is, like an indicator, which is kind of twofold, because like we still don't have an indicator for our simulacrums. So it's like maybe you could kill two birds with one stone on that. So we could have some sort of indication that we have a clone out and simulacrums out. That'd be a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
simulacrums can't die, at least, right?
Well, they can, because you can die and then one of them dies.
If you die, then you just got.
You don't know that happened. Your simulacrum is gone.
If you're a cheat death proc.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. True. Yeah.
So like you could be running around with one, and it's like do it. Like all you can really do is like pour it away and throw a spear and see if other spears come out. Right. Like it's not ideal. Yeah. So.
Yeah, your bar glows, I think, but it doesn't tell you if you have two. It glows.
It tells you have one.
Two. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of that, I mean, like, there's enough to sink your teeth into, ultimately, in this patch, and they did some good stuff, and it's interesting, and it's going to change the way we play a bit. I'm a little disappointed that it seems like the way we play is going to be rat runs again. I think that's, one of the things that we should kind of at minimum try to do is change up the speed farm meta every season, because that's what you're doing like 90% of your time.
Yeah. I agree with that. I like I said it a million times. I personally don't hate rat runs, but I don't do 8 hours of rat runs a day.
Yeah.
I do 1 hour of rat runs a day, and I can stomach it for an hour, but then I'm done. And I don't hate it. I think it's a really cool build, but I'm with you 100%, man. That's something that we should always rotate the speed meta every season, like Whirlwind Barb meta, God DH meta, rat runs, anything else, man.
Yeah.
So, and I think we could get community feedback in the right direction to help even create those metas a little bit, help give ideas to the devs. Because, I don't know how many people they have working on the game, but it's probably hard to play the game when you're working on the game all day long too. If you're sitting there coding Diablo 3 all day, you're not going to go home and play Diablo all night. You know what I mean? So get the people who are playing and like, yo, it'd be like a really cool meta. What if we had this Whirlwind Barb, or what if we had this, Frenzy Barb do this and this do that? And like, okay, well, we can maybe make that work. And they could look at all the ideas we throw at them.
I wonder if
I could code this
to keep balance. If they would do like, what if they did like a weekly, like, okay, right now, Rathma's really good inside of a GR, but Masquerade is nerfed in a group. Like, so they could like maybe force people into like playstyles for a week or something, but maybe that'd be bad.
Community would probably hate that, because you're gonna have those guys that only have that one playstyle. Or what'll happen is you'd be like, oh, I hate Bone Spear, so when it's Bone Spear week, you just don't play the game.
Well, but if you're still that player that like has to play, at least you're not grinding your face off on Rathmans or on rat runs.
Yeah, true.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't. There's got to be some incentive. I don't. Even if they don't replace rat runs, at least try to focus on getting other speed metas up to par.
Yeah.
Like get some that are pretty damn close, and then you can be like, well, I'm so sick of rats. I'll take that 5% efficiency loss just to play a different setup. And honestly, you want to get every class involved anyway somehow, right? Because with rat runs, what you have Necro and Barb. That's it. Like. Let's get some different metas like this, like the Whirlwind meta, for example. At least it had, you had, well, it's still Barb, but you had, what did we run in that? You ran a couple Barbs and a DH. Was it a DH? ZDH in that?
Was it?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember now either.
It's been too long, man. But then you had the God DH set up this season, which had two DHs.
No, it was two barbs, a support barb, and a crusader, wasn't it?
Did a Crusader run with it?
Or it could have been a Z Necro or Crusader.
It's only 2 seasons ago, Fluff. We
yeah,
can't remember shit.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so it'd be, like I said, it'd be cool to get Wizard in some speed metas, get Witch Doctor, get every single class in some kind of meta, speed meta that can at least hang with rat runs, So 3 chicken Witch Doctors, yeah, that's the play. What else do we got? Those are the patch notes. You had some stuff about Diablo 4s.
Yeah, I just saw this like little interesting piece of information pop up on Reddit.
Okay.
And this is a Diablo 4 aggregate class popularity pulled from Reddit polls of like what people would want.
The only reason you put this on here is because Necro's at the top.
Necro is a commanding lead. It's not just like
who
little bit more popular.
Who picked Warrior though, dude? You already got a Barb. Why would you pick Warrior?
Like people pick Warrior, but look how many people pick Paladin. Like,
I'm just saying, like, there's 1,200 votes out there that are coming from unqualified people to vote if they picked Warrior. Like, literally unqualified. Like, you don't deserve to vote. It is interesting though, man. Necro is super high.
Barbarian's not really represented, is it? No.
Well, Barbarian's in Diablo 4 already.
Right.
So
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like Warrior and Barb.
Well, just that Warriors from Diablo 1, right? So people just want that.
Yeah. I mean, they're very similar-ish, Paladin and I mean, those are the 3 top running classes, I feel like. Who voted for Witch Doctor? Come on, guys.
It's just Big Daddy Den VPNing.
Big Daddy voted 1,100 times. Oh man, Monk's up there. It's that's a very interesting. Shaman only got 5 votes. Like, really?
But Shaman's never been a Diablo thing,
Yeah, but it could be. It'd be cool.
No, I'm not saying it wouldn't be, but obviously Amazon, Paladin, and Necro are like big.
What would a
DK
favorites. Be classified under? Like, what would you what would this big like evil knight thing?
Yeah. I don't know.
Shadow? What is Shadow? Like, what's a Shadow?
I personally almost like to see, like, I'd love to see Necro be like poison. I'd love to see Necro be like a summoner, and I'd also love to see Necro have an ability to be melee if they really wanted to, and then you could just have both in that one class. Yeah. But that's too many playstyles for one class. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be I mean, playstyles are good though, man.
Yep.
Variety is the spice of life.
Totally.
That is interesting though. So if we go on this poll, man, I think Necro is going to end up in D4. I think like it's kind of that's like the thing, man. It's Necro fits the genre as well as any other class out there.
Better than any class.
I have to agree. Like it's like the staple of that medieval, nasty, evil, horrific.
But that's my concern as well. Is like it's such a staple shoe-in to earn you cash if you come out with a character pack after release. So that's like my big scare. It's like
they're just gonna repeat D3.
Yeah, and that's kind of cringe that they would do like pay to play Necro 2 Diablos in a row, but also it's kind of
they may totally even drop it from D4 because of that reason. If they put it so they said that they were going to have 5 classes at launch, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't know the other 2. Necro could potentially be 1, and then we got that 1 slot left, and I think it goes. You got to fill that Ranger style class though. It's got to be Amazon. Yeah. Like Necro and Amazon in my mind, if you think about it, make the most logical sense.
Totally.
But Paladin's right there with it. Like Paladin's like almost there, but Paladin's another melee, and it's like, well, you're already going to have Barb, Druid, and then you throw Paladin in there, so your only range class, I guess, could be Sorceress and Necro.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would vote Amazon and Necro though if I were getting to pick.
Yeah.
I think.
Or just 6 classes. Just give them all.
Yeah, just add an extra class. Stop fucking around, Bliss.
Yeah. Seriously. 5 is really not that much.
It's just a couple lines of code, man.
Yeah.
Art team draws
an intern could do it.
Yeah, Fluff could do it. Give him a job.
That was just like a random thing I saw on Reddit that I found to be interesting.
Yeah, that is cool.
And then Transmogs, right? So week after week, and maybe this is an early Fluff Hates, and it's been a Fluff Hates in the past.
Okay.
But, I particularly loathe stuff like this, where there's this post, a popular post on Reddit right now. This guy's like, I want to send a screenshot to my friend and tell him this is Diablo 3 smile. And it's, for you guys that are listening in, it's a barbarian, and he's got butterfly wings on and rainbow swords, and it's just to me,
it's
so cringe. So cringe. Yeah. I don't want this in a gothic
and
dark
he's
game.
Also in a rainbow portal, so the background's all
ridiculous.
Weird. Yeah.
And we say that week after week, right? I don't want to see Santa hats. I don't want to see just gross.
I see. Santa hats are okay.
Just stop.
As long as if it's temporary,
Stop.
It's okay. If it's temporary, it's okay. A Christmas Santa hat for
how are you going to give someone Transmog and take it away? You're not.
You do it in WoW all the time. They just get the Santa hat. They get to wear it around, and then when Christmas goes away, it's gone. It says limited, only available during the holiday events or whatever it is. So.
But yeah, the butterfly wings are cringe and rainbows. It's no. But then the reason I bring this up is because Path of Exile did a big poll, and they kind of asked what are the kind of the transmogs that you guys like, and so they're like dark and gritty, magic, elemental, colorful and bright, thaumaturgy, divine, angelic, twilight, or novelty like the celestial cat soul rend or summon raging bees, and that one won by a landslide.
I don't even know what the celestial cat soul rend is.
It's just literally what it sounds like. It's they're little. The soul rend is a skill. It's usually a purple spell that shoots out, and it's like a chaos dot.
I just saw it.
You can turn it into kitty cats.
Hell. Yeah, that's dumb.
Like Twilight kitty cats.
I'm sorry, that's dumb AF. I don't know, man. There's screenshots of somebody with a 1100% cast speed, and his entire screen is just cats.
Kitty cats.
Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah, no, don't do that.
But that's what won, and to me, my choice is dark and gritty. Obviously, what would be your choice of all these?
I like cool looking effects, like Death Nova, for example, is such a cool effect in Diablo.
That'd be dark and gritty.
So I think things like that look really cool. Yeah, so dark and gritty, maybe elemental things look cool, fire and ice effects and stuff like that.
Okay. Still better.
Yeah, definitely not like kitty cats. So I think that the bears level, the pony levels in Diablo 3, they've just always been around as long as I can remember. Were they there in vanilla, or was that a Reaper of Souls edition?
The Twilight?
You could open the portals.
That's vanilla, I think.
Vanilla. Yeah. So you could. It's just always been there, and I guess we accept it. I don't really want to see that in Diablo 4. Again, I'm totally cool with Christmas hats during Christmas time. That's cool, man. It brings some spirit in, and it goes away after Christmas is over. I'm okay with that. I wouldn't want to see somebody running around in a Santa hat in April. You know what I mean? That's pretty silly. But I don't want to see them celebrating all the themes either. It's okay, so now we're going to have Christmas and pumpkins and turkeys and summer thing, and just start doing all this stuff. It's too much.
It's interesting you bring that up because along with this post is PoE's microtransactions for Halloween.
Yeah,
these actually look fucking dope.
Yeah, well, it's because this one's diabolical.
Yeah, dark and gritty.
Diabolical.
Spiderweb cloak. His eyes are bleeding. Spider weird things coming. And then look at this guy. His head keep watching it.
Sideways.
It's not just turn sideways, but it's gonna be
oh no, don't do that. Oh no, stop. That's nightmares. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, they can make it fit the theme, right? If you had, let's say, Diablo 4 is going to be dark and nasty and bloody and gory and just have this horrible atmosphere, right? So at Christmas time, if you put a blood-stained Santa hat and throw it on a guy, is it really, I don't know, man. I don't want to see Rudolph standing in front of the inn looking all pretty and shiny with his nose glowing. If they do that, please let me cut Rudolph's head off. You know what I mean? Like they should let you chop him up or something, like just get them. So, but those, I think those kind of fit the theme of PoE. They're not crazy outlandish, but they're creepy for sure.
Yeah. I like it.
I like that jester Joker clown thing with his head
rotating.
spinning. That's creepy AF
Yeah.
for real. You're like, yeah. So does he just do that all the time? You're running around casting
I don't
spells
know.
and
Maybe
looking backwards. That'd be dope.
And then I don't know if you saw this or not, but GGG came out with kind of like a big announcement of how they're gonna like change how they're developing so damn fast, right? Like, we see it league after league is just like the insane amounts of and they go on to say like it's been an issue, like we do feature creep because like we want to include so much stuff, and then like we just do too much, and then there's like a ton of bugs, and so like it sounds like they're gonna maybe like chill out. I mean, they go on to say like you should expect to only see like a few pages. I mean, only smile, like it's still insane, but just like maybe like tighten things up, right? Which I've been arguing that I think that Path of Exile desperately needs like a league where they just kind of clean up old mechanics that are staples, right? Like the delve and the things that are definitely going forward, the blights and the stuff that's really great, and just like perfect it instead of like just adding new content that maybe doesn't hit and stuff like that. Because for me, still like Heist. Have you played Heist at all?
I haven't.
Okay.
No, I didn't jump into it because I was, bad things happened, and then I expected new things to come out that got delayed. So
for me,
I should be playing WoW
just,
expansion right now.
Heist is just like not hitting. It's the rewards are good.
That's what I hear from everybody.
And like the things you can get out of the heist are like amazing, like replica uniques, like such a cool idea. Alternate skill gems, awesome. And just the gear, the new implicits, it's so exciting. But just doing the heist, I just can't. It's so boring to me. And I don't know what it is. It's just it does not hit for me. And I just like I'm just not having fun. I
literally had somebody use the exact same wording, and they said heist is boring me out of my fucking mind. Like that's literally what they told me. And this is coming from somebody that plays a shit ton of heist. Or a shit ton of PoE, I mean. And so to me, it was funny because I've heard a lot of people kind of say that heist just wasn't it, but it was so hyped, and it looked from the outside looking in at heist.
Yeah,
it was going to be a sick league. It looked like it was going to like, oh, this is really really cool, So it's funny that you say that, but no, I haven't played it. I think to me, there are so many things in the game that would be new that I don't know if it would be boring to me because I'd be like, oh, I don't even know what's going on right now. Like I'm just trying to, I'm doing this thing, and can I die? And
I think if they just got rid of contracts, because contracts are like meant to be like grinded out, and maybe you only got like blueprints. I know you don't know what this means, but I'm kind of just talking to the podcast at this point. I think it'd be improvement, and maybe that's what rolls over. But yeah, I can't grind contracts all day. It's just so boring to me. It's just missing that one thing, like I talk about the necro set. The necro set's like good, it's strong. It's a little dull because it feels like you're not really working towards anything. And it's kind of like what heist feels like to me. It's just like it's rewarding and it's cool, all these things you can get from it, but doing it like feels like you should be going towards something bigger, and you're just not.
So when you're grinding contracts, what exactly does that mean when you're grinding a contract?
Well, I mean, you grind
into the heist, or like what?
Yeah, so
they give you the big one.
Yeah, so you grind heists, and you can either, there's a companion you can get that will like unlock areas of a grand heist for you as you do contracts. You obviously get coins for getting the heirloom or whatever it's called, the artifact from, and the coins are super important because you use the coins to unlock maps or wings of a grand heist, which is like the really rewarding stuff. And so it's like, it's relevant to get coins, but you also can get coins from just like grinding maps. And so what I've found myself doing is like, I really just kind of run the grand heists and just use coins that I get from maps. And if I'm short on coins, then I'll run some contracts to catch up. But I'm so miserable running those contracts.
If
I
you're not
wish it wasn't that
enjoying the
way.
content, then I think that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the problem is there's so many things to play right now, currently.
Is there?
And coming up. I
Mm.
feel like there is, to me. I mean, I guess it depends on what you like, you know,
Right.
what you're into. But if you're into ARPGs only,
Yep.
you still have, you know, you got Diablo, you got PoE, Torchlight 3 just dropped,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's still, was it Last Epoch or Grim Dawn that did a update recently? Baldur's Gate 3 demo came out, although I didn't hear positive things about it.
That's not really an RPG either, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, you know, so there's a couple things to play. And if you expand past that, like, you know, the Shadowlands pre-patch came out, and then in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna have all kinds of shit drop in if you just like games in general. But for me, with my taste, the style of games that I like, I think this is becoming a really crazy choice of like, oh man, I gotta make decisions on what game I want to play now. It's like, you know, Destiny's got stuff coming out. You know, I'm a big Destiny fan. Assassin's Creed's coming out. I like that. Cyberpunk got delayed again.
Is there a date for the WoWs, or is it just?
It's still up in the air. They said this year, so December 31st, but I could easily see them pushing that back some more too.
Yeah.
Seems like I follow that pretty closely, and it seems like the beta is drastically changing week by week. I mean, like huge changes. And to me, it's like how are they fine tuning? This isn't fine tuning. This is like system changing. Like, how do they fix this in less than a month? They're like making crazy changes right now. So,
But is that a good thing? Is like, are they following community?
It's a good thing to get it fixed, but it's a bad thing for launching it in time. So if your goal is to just get something to play, it's bad. I personally want them to make it right because I don't want them to launch a shitty expansion. So if it takes to January or February, it is what it is. But like they've in the last 4 weeks, they've literally changed the leveling experience 4 different times. It's like they nerf it, then they make it good, then they nerf it, then make it good. I mean, I can rant on this forever. Nobody cares about WoW, so I'll stop. But
yeah, that's kind of what's going on with Path of Exile currently.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, in the Twitch news while you were gone, did you see all this?
Wait. Sorry, one more thing.
Hold on.
I found it interesting too. Is so, GGG's made it pretty prevalently clear that like they want to play Cyberpunk. Like most people there want to play Cyberpunk, and so like, you know, around Harvest, they're like, you know, our next league's gonna be big, and we all want to play Cyberpunk, but like you should stick around and play our league instead or whatever. And then now it seems like Cyberpunk is like what, December 10th or something, right?
Yeah, I got pushed back to the 10th, another 3 weeks.
And then allegedly the PoE League is gonna be December 11th, and Bex actually like officially replied like, we'll have news on this soon, of like they might actually change their day because of.
I honestly think that's a good idea. Yeah. I really do. And the reason Cyberpunk has reached, even if you don't give a shit about Cyberpunk, like I'm not saying you should or shouldn't like it. I don't really care if you do or don't like it, but the level of hype that this game has achieved is beyond anything I've ever seen in the video game industry. I've never seen a video game this hyped up ever. It's crazy, man. It's insane.
I think like Anthem was the last one that was like kind of not quite on this scale, but like it was
Anthem was big, but not like this is a whole nother level. And I feel like no matter how good the game is, it's gonna get set up for failure. I don't think it's gonna like it's like we're acting like it's gonna come out and be like this game that just changes the thing. Like it's like, oh, this is gonna revolutionize video game. And it's not. It's not gonna do that. But I'm on the hype train, man. Like I'm excited to play this. And like you and I were having a discussion in our pre-podcast. If you know, Patreon, you can listen to it. We talked about it. We talked about this. Like if Cyberpunk, World of Warcraft, and Diablo 3 all dropped on the same day, which one would I play? And it's like, well, Diablo 3 we've done seasons a million times, so I probably would sacrifice that. If World of Warcraft had a new expansion coming out, that's like a once every 2 to 3 year event. That's a pretty big deal. I might even sacrifice that and still pick Cyberpunk, even though I don't even know how good it's going to be, which is crazy. Like I bought into the hype, man. They sold me.
Totally.
You know? So
let me ask you this. What what's the last game that you felt was hyped, but actually lived up to its standard?
Damn. I don't know. I think it's the ones that aren't hyped that come out of nowhere that are the good ones.
I think
Um,
I don't want to give you the answer.
do you have one?
I do.
Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Shut up.
I'm just trolling you with that answer. I don't. Okay, you tell me yours. I'll think about it for a second. I'm trying to roll through these games.
Breath of the Wild.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
That's a very good choice. Breath of the Wild was phenomenal, man. Phenomenal, and that had a huge hype.
Yeah.
You gotta like. So I agree. Somebody chat's listing on their games. I think GTA 5. I've historically loved that game. It was hyped. It was a good game. I don't think it had the same level of hype though that this has, and I think Breath of the Wild did. Breath of the Wild was on that level of like this is next level shit. Man. Yeah, I can't really think of any. God of War was again phenomenal game, but I don't think it had this level of hype that Cyberpunk has.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be hard. It'll be hard. I'll think of some think about it.
You can think of like a million ones that were hyped and flopped.
It flopped. Yeah, I mean I could name those all day. I bought into Anthem.
Yeah.
I bought into Destiny 2 to an extent. Division 2. Like there's so many for me that I've been so hyped about that have just fallen flat.
Diablo 3 vanilla.
Yeah, Diablo 3 vanilla. Couldn't even play that shit on launch day. How many games do you think go through this? Because we were kind of talking like the World of Warcraft Classic launch was, oh my god, horrible. Every WoW expansion has been pretty brutal. BFA was okay for my server cluster. My server didn't die, but a lot did. What other games like PoE leagues launches have they historically been playable or not?
It depends on who you ask, really. Like the hardcore boys, I would think they would say the past few have been pretty bad. But the most of the population they've been pretty smooth for, unless you have a really bad PC. That crowd would also be like, oh, they're too brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So bad launches have become the norm.
Yeah,
I think.
True.
I don't expect the only thing that I think Cyberpunk has going for it is it's a single player offline game. So as long as the game's stable and doesn't crash, it should be okay. There's no multiplayer or have to connect to servers type deal. Whereas like WoW's new expansion, like that's gonna be, I'm expecting a CF on that too. Diablo 4's launch. Oh my god, dude. It's gonna be Diablo 4 could reach those mythical levels of hype.
Yeah.
It could. It's got the IP, it's got Blizzard behind it, it's got Activision behind it.
Yep.
If they can put out some good demo, it could get those levels of hype, man.
Agreed.
While you were gone, Twitch was issuing DMCAs like left and right, just flinging DMCAs everywhere, making claims that they didn't even tell you what it was, which is actually illegal. Like there's been so much crazy drama on Twitch about this DMCA thing, and I kind of wanted to talk about it really quick because did you get a notice? Did you get a DMCA?
I did, yeah.
Notice? Okay. What did it say? What did it say in yours? It didn't tell you what you had. They just said they deleted the offensive piece of content, right?
Let me see if I can actually pull it up. Yep. Do you want me to read it or?
Whatever. Whatever you're comfortable with. I don't know what info it has on there.
It's basically, so we are writing to inform you your channel is subject to one or more of these DMCA takedown notifications, and the content identified has been deleted. Recognize that by deleting the content, we are not giving you the option to file a counter notification and seek blah 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 blah. So
yeah, and it
like
sounds like yes. That's not how it even works. Is the funky part? Like I don't know if you've done any research into this or you've looked into it, but like I've done a lot recently. I've been and it's been a hot topic. So a lot of guys have put out info that's like legally this is how this works and this is how that works, and it's so funny that everybody got these DMCA takedown notices the same day that Twitch launches its free music service. It didn't identify the piece of content you were DMCA claimed or whatever, which they legally have to do, and this and that, and they didn't do any of that. And I think they just mass sent out a whole bunch of these notices. And But it is screwed up, man, and it's like, so I have not been playing normal music on my streams. It feels bad, dude. It sucks, and it's like, man, I wish that we could find a way to compensate the artists who make the music and make everybody happy at the same time, you know? So
Yeah.
I wanted to get your opinion. Like, I've talked about it a lot. I'm curious what your opinion is on this.
Yeah, it's hard because, you want to follow the rules and not get in trouble and, not lose the ability to stream on this platform. But at the same time, you don't want to be like so strict on yourself that you're like almost not even having fun anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, my opinion or my stance on it has kind of been like, well, I'm such a small streamer in the grand scheme of things that I'd be really surprised if it impacted us like it does the big boys. Most of my music is like synthwave, non-copyright music anyways. So I assume the clips in question were like maybe times we did song requests or maybe we played some troll song from YouTube or something like that. So I guess just being more conscious of that. And I haven't turned off song requests, so people could still F me over probably, but
I kind of feel the same. I feel the same, like it's like I'm such a small streamer, nobody's gonna mess with me. And that's kind of how I felt too. In the grand scheme of things, like, it's the big boys that are up at the top of the directory that are probably the ones that are gonna get targeted first. But then if you think about it, this stuff's all automated anyways.
Yeah.
They're gonna have programs go through, and eventually they're gonna go through the whole partnered list, right? They're gonna be like, does he have a check mark? Let's get all those guys first. And then after that, they're gonna be like, okay, let's get all the affiliated guys. And then after that, so if this is all automated in the background, eventually that server is gonna get to me. It's gonna get far enough down the list where it's gonna be like, okay, let's go through all of PTR's VODs that ever exist. And boom, there's 3 copyright strikes. Now you're fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a very shitty system in general. I don't know, man. It's a bad scenario. I hope that this stuff gets figured out relatively soon because it's not. I would much rather just pay a couple extra bucks on my Spotify account to get a content license where I could actually stream this shit. You know what I mean? It's like our some curated playlists that are like, hey, this is like a quarter of our library, but you can stream this. You know what I mean?
To me, it's kind of a weird slippery slope as well, because in the one hand, it's like, to me, it's almost free publicity for these people. It's like, if someone really likes a song that they hear in my stream, they can type !song and they can go find out about the artist that they normally would probably have not found.
Yeah,
At the same
and then
time, I understand the
Yeah.
perspective of like, we're kind of like leeching their content. It's like I'd be watching Quinn's stream and be like, well, you can type !Quinn and you can go to his stream or something like you know what I mean? So
exactly.
I get both perspectives.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. So, anyways, there's ways that I think that they could do this. I've talked about some theories and stuff, and I don't need to get into that here. That's not what this podcast is about. But it's just it sucks, man. This has definitely been noticeable on my stream, and I genuinely miss being able to play music that I really enjoy because I think it takes the vibe down in general when I'm like listening and it's just like some random shit in the background. But I just don't want silence. You know what I mean? So it's
Did
like
you
I don't have
go
a
as far to
solution.
delete your clips and VODs and stuff?
I haven't yet.
Yeah,
No.
me neither.
But you know what's funny though is like right after this shit started going down, I got copyright claims on 3 copyright claims on the same YouTube video that I had posted back from 2018. So I had like a 3-year-old YouTube video that got striked, and it's legit strikes. Like, I forgot to turn my Spotify off when I was recording a challenge rift video.
Right.
And so I was talking and the music's in the background, and it's like I either had to redo the entire footage or just leave it. And I was like, fuck it, I just left it in there. And so they copyright striked it 3 different times in the same video though. And it's like, man, this video's been up for 2 years. You guys are just now getting around to it. Why are you scanning a video that's 2.5 years old? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had a really weird issue too, like not on my normal gaming channel, but like that little side Lord of the Fluff travel thing that I do. I had a piece of music that was unique and I'd gotten permission to use it in the video. And so like it was fine. And then like, I don't know, 2 months ago, it got flagged. It's like, oh, it contains this bit of music and you don't have copyright to it. And so I filed the thing. It's like, no, I actually do. I got it from the artist. But then YouTube came back and said, no, the artist said they only gave it to you for a year.
What?
Yeah. I was like, okay. Well,
They're
it's
like,
only got like 900 views anyway, so like whatever.
Yeah, whatever. That's fine.
It's just like,
yeah, it's silly. So that's the kind of the thing that sucks is like just looking at this going forward from a Twitch perspective, but a YouTube perspective. If you make guides and videos or whatever, and we go back, 2 years from now, they get flagged because you had some DMCA copyright free music in there, and then all of a sudden the artist changes his mind. Like your video is already published, so what? You know what I mean? It's just weird, man. It sucks.
Yeah,
it's a shitty scenario to live in. So speaking of, let's go into the fluff hates, PTR love segments. I'm gonna start off with the loves. This is the sarcastic loves. I love game delays.
Yeah.
Rip Cyberpunk. I baby rage super hard today. Chat came in today and they're like, yo, Cyberpunk's December 10th release date. And I'm like, no, it's not, man. It's the 12th or it's the 19th. I know the release date. I've been planning for this forever. It's the 19th. And they're like, no, it got pushed back. And I thought they were screwing with me because everybody knows how hyped I am. I'm like, you guys are fucking with me. Like, I'm not falling for it, man. I'm not falling for it. And they're like, no, I swear. Go look. So I pulled up their Twitter page and I pulled up the thing and I read it and I'd lost it, man. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we're 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, and you guys are doing this. So it sucks, man. The 2020 has been game delays out the ass, man. WoW, Cyberpunk's been delayed like 5 times. WoW's been delayed. Like Assassin's Creed got delayed. Everything, man. Everything.
Yeah.
So
makes sense, but yeah.
I love game delays.
Yeah.
They're great. Yeah. PTR delays.
Yeah.
What do you hate?
Michelin Anarchy 3 tires, which they don't even make anymore because they're so fucking bad.
Blame the tires, not the rider. I got it.
I
saw you put to the right in that video. I was watching the video and I'm thinking in my mind, go left. Nope, didn't do it.
But I would have no reason to have gone left at that point.
You were too far in the right. You were in the loose shit. Dude.
Obviously, I was in the loose shit, but I had never even lost traction at that point. So, you don't know until you know.
Yeah, now you know.
I don't know.
Oh man, that sucks, dude. Yeah. It's yeah. So would you do that again? Would you plan a trip like that again?
I would, but would do with better tires. I've already ordered 50/50s and getting them on.
Would you drive slower to avoid some of those accidents again?
Honestly, it felt like a roll of the dice when I was on some of those sand traps and stuff. I was like, fuck, man. I'd start to lose traction, and then like you're just supposed to you give it throttle and wait for the bike to autocorrect.
Yeah.
But it would sometimes it just didn't grab. And so I would just, I could just go down. And another problem is, it's a 500-pound adventure bike plus, me 200 pounds plus at least, 100 pounds of gear. And so I'm just like treading sand like crazy. And the bike's probably honestly a little too tall for me. So that's a problem as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very top heavy and it's just impossible. Like I'm a strong guy, but I can't stop that.
You're not stopping a bike. Yeah. A bike that's 500 pounds and it starts to, once you get past that balance point, you're done, dude. It's going down, So it's just a matter of, are you hitting the throttle as you fall? Or are you jumping off? Like what's going down? Yeah. It was a nice roll at the end though. I'll give you credit for that.
Thank you. I mean, I know how to fall. I probably would have gotten way more. Dude. Yeah.
Let's jump into some Twitter questions.
Do it.
If you guys want to ask questions to the podcast, you can submit them on Twitter, on our Discords. At ThaPChild on Twitter for myself, at Lord__Fluffy. The first question comes from Keyray. He says, with all the new games coming out, what are you most excited for?
PoE 2 Diablo 4.
PoE 2 Diablo 4. There you go.
Halo Master or Halo 5 Infinite, or Halo whatever. Infinite.
7, 8,
17,000.
Cyberpunk for me, for sure. But I'm excited for all of them, man. I'm excited for Shadowlands, excited for Assassin's Creed. I'm excited for, not really Destiny, I guess. But yeah, Cyberpunk wins my vote. Fryer of Chicken has a paragraph, but he does ask a pretty good question, so I'm going to read it.
Okay.
He says, I realize that I'm not a computer programmer, so maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about, and this would not be possible. So I pose this scenario to you. I think we can all agree that one of two things needs to happen: a stat squish to push us back down to GR70 being a big deal, or raise the greater rift cap. I understand that raising the greater rift cap isn't feasible right now because the servers are melting trying to figure out the calculations as they are. So why not simply make the calculations easier? Keep the strength of every item the same, but simply make it smaller numbers. So an oversimplification, what I'm talking about would be if you're doing a 150 and the greater rift has 1,000 health and we're dealing 10 health worth of damage per hit, then have the greater rift have 100 health and we deal 1 damage per hit. So basically, he's just wanting to drop some zeros off the damage calculations, but keep the greater rift levels the same. Do it proportionally so it feels the same, and then we could raise the greater rift levels. So he goes on to talk about that. So I'm gonna skip a little bit and go into it, but I think that's the gist of the question. Why don't we just truncate some zeros on these damage numbers and health numbers?
Yeah, I mean that's tricky because in theory that seems like, well, that's a plausible idea. In theory, it seems like it's kind of a plausible idea to kind of nerf everybody back 20 GRs. But for some reason that's it's not being done, and even if we could say, oh, let's just take off say 20% of people's damage or something like that, but the GR stays the same, so therefore we nerf mob health maybe by 20% and everyone stays at the same GR, we'd probably get more performance gain, but that's also kind of a lot of work too. So it's tough to answer without having the insight that the developers do as to why we can't do the things we do.
Yeah. I would assume it's just a manpower issue because there's got to be ways to do it. It's just having
right.
So there's a lot of things that go into it that are hard to see from the front. Like you need the developers that actually wrote the code and understand the code to kind of oh, well, if you did that, this would happen. And the guys that you have left working on the game, they're not the original authors of the code. When you're reading somebody else's work, it's not near this because there's a lot of ways you could program something or code something to work usually. And the way that I would slice a project up may not be the same way that Fluff would slice a project up. Even though we get the same result, the methods we use could be totally different and thought processes could be different. So there's just a lot that goes in behind the scenes, but a number squish would make sense, man. I say that forever, that if we're gonna be stuck in Diablo 3 for the next 2 years, if it's gonna take 2 more years for Diablo 4 to come out, then rip the Band-Aid off now, reset us to GR70, and then let us power creep our way back up to 150 again over the next 2 years. People will be pissed, but at least that's something. Because the way it sits now, it's just I don't know. I don't know where we go from here.
Yeah.
So
just changing the way we play every season is kind of seems like what we're going for now.
Yeah, that seems to be the thing. And how long is that going to hold over? Every season, it's a little less appealing.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Do you have that feeling where it's just yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we don't get new activities. We're speed farming 150s as opposed to the idea of pushing, to a limit is just gone in Diablo 3. It's it's no longer wow, we did 143, this season. That's fucking crazy. It's
right.
Oh, we did 150 in 3 minutes. That's just weird. I mean, which is nice. There's a nice. I've always argued oh, there should be a speed farm leaderboard and there should be a pushing leaderboard, but we've lost pushing really.
Yeah.
Besides solo.
Big Unit 20 says it's been said that Diablo 4 skill tree lacks depth. In what mind, on a scale of D4 skill tree to PoE, how much complexity does D3 have? If D4 hits the same depth as D3, would you be happy? So
no.
I guess a comparison from D3 to D4, D3 doesn't even
have a skill tree.
So
we have 0 to 10 is PoE, right?
So D3 is 0 and PoE is 11.
D4 is maybe a 1.
D4 is it's probably, I was gonna give it 3 maybe.
Okay.
Just to be nice. But D4 is really just taken D3's skills and runes and put them on a physical tree picture. And that's the skill tree. There's a little more to it, I guess, than that, but it's D4. You know, what would I be happy with? A 7. If PoE legitimately is the scale of a 10, and D4 right now is legitimately probably like Fluff said, a 1 or a 2 because it's not even a real tree. I don't feel like.
Right.
Then I would honestly be pretty happy with a 7. I don't think D4 ever goes as far as PoE. I think that's not their audience. I don't think that's would be great for them. It would be great for me. I don't think it'd be great for them.
Yeah.
So I would say a 7. I think you want it simple enough that people aren't intimidated when they look at it initially, but you want it complicated enough where it's like, damn, like I'm sitting here trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
You know?
Agree. I think 7's fair. But you know, if you're asking me what makes me happy, I would still say like a 10. Just like make it PoE.
I think a 10 would be great for me personally. I don't know if it'd be good for Blizzard. So
Sure. But
yeah.
then, you know, PoE's kind of killing it. So yeah, it's tough. Definitely tough.
Joe Cronin asked a couple different questions in one. He says, will this season be better than last season?
I mean, I don't know. It's tough because again, Necro's in that place where we had options last season, and now we're kind of like, oh, I'll just run Bone Spear forehead. But it's different, so that's good. I don't know.
I think the fourth cube slot. I think the 4th cube slot makes every class have more juice, no matter what you play. So for that alone, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes for that alone.
I agree, more juice, but I prefer more diversity. So,
will the leaderboards be monitored more this season? No, I'm voting no.
Probably not.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same as it always has been. There'll be like one ban wave to make it seem like they're doing stuff, but the whole season people will bot and they won't get banned for it, and they'll be back next season and they'll do it again. You know what, man? We didn't even get to talk about this, dude. So did you see that Destiny issued a DMCA takedown, a copyright infringement takedown against their biggest bot?
That's good, right? No.
And when you went to the bot website, it was like Bungie basically sued us and we're taking the website down. We're complying.
Cool.
And I was like, fuck yeah, man. Like that was such a huge win for Destiny because this bot was ruining their game. And it's like, Blizzard, can we?
Whoa.
Yo, look at that, producers.
How did I do
Joe
that?
Sauce getting the call out.
What just how did I
I don't know.
Duplicated
it's right
it,
there. It's turned on the top. There's 2 texts on the top.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah,
Joe
there's
Sauce?
that shout.
There you go, Joe Sauce. You got an extra one, bud.
Trying to clean my mouse. Whoops.
Appreciate that patronage. Why can't Blizzard sue these assholes, man? Who's making the bots, dude?
You know they got good lawyers. Shit.
Like seriously though, for real. Why have we sued them? Why are they still not sued into oblivion? Like they're probably running out of fucking Netherlands or Germany or somewhere. Like if they're in Germany, can we just send SVR after them? Can you just like go take them out? Like what's the deal, man?
Yeah. Attack them with math.
Yeah, get them, dude. He'll like hug them to death or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, it goes back to the whole, tinfoil hat theory that, Blizzard profits off of the bots.
Maybe it's more sales. They do a ban wave and the sales of the game go up. I don't know. And then his third parter says, should they start adding more content to each season? For instance, double something extra cube unlocks at Paragon 500, other things to make a season crazier.
Maybe if they feel like the population's low, they could do something. I think, we talked about it before, is like, I don't feel like they do enough like weekly, weekend events or whatever.
I think that's the biggest win. I think that's the biggest thing they have left in their bag of tricks that they could potentially, because like, listen, we already know they have the ability to boot up PTR servers. We already know they can do it. So can they section off a segment of server clusters to run a weekend event? And they say, it's a month into the season, 2 months into the season, we're going to do a weekend event this mini season. It's on a PTR server. You got to start brand new characters. There's no character copy button. There's no PTR copy button. You log in, you make a brand new character, you level with whatever modifiers they throw onto it, and you get it for the weekend, and then it's gone. You know, I think that's the biggest win they have left in their bag to still pull out. I think that would be phenomenal.
Mini season.
Any season, mini events. And they could do crazy shit with those mini events. And if it sucks, nobody cares. Like, it's like, oh,
It's
man,
gone.
this mini event sucked.
Right.
Who cares? It was a one weekend. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and you can always plan them when Fluff goes on vacation. It'll be fucking amazing.
Easy.
Like, every single mini event. Like, listen, I'm going to set you guys up. Diablo team, I'm going to start asking Fluff a couple weeks in advance on his vacation schedules, and we can line them up. Just bang, bang, bang.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
Toxic. Hex says, do you guys have a oops, wrong room story? Oops, wrong room story. I personally don't know if I have one. My brother has a really good one, though. So I'll tell his story and act like it was me, but it wasn't me.
Okay.
But it's phenomenal. So he buys this new car. And this is back, you know, in the early 2000s. He buys a new Blazer. He's got this Blazer. He parks it at Walmart. He goes in. He does his shopping, and he comes back out. And this is like the first day he's owned the car. And he walks back to it in the parking lot, and he jumps in the driver's seat of the car, and he throws his Walmart bag over in the passenger seat. And as he's throwing his Walmart bag, you know how you kind of just like turn your head a little bit and look. He sees there's a lady in the back seat of his car. And so he turns around and looks, and this lady was sitting in the back seat of her car breastfeeding her child, her infant baby. Okay. And then he looks around for a second and realizes, oh, fuck, this isn't my car. He jumped. Some lady had like the identical car as him. And he jumped in her car instead of his car. He was parked like 5 or 6 more spaces down. And he's like, he said the look on her face was like instant, oh my God, I'm about to get murdered or pillaged or something. You know what I mean? And he said it was, he said, I didn't even know what to say. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought this was my car. I swear to God, I thought this was my car. I'm sorry. And he grabbed his bag and jumped out of the car and left. And I'm just thinking like, oh man, because what would you do if you're her? Like, why are you breastfeeding in the back seat with your doors unlocked, lady?
I don't know,
like,
man.
lock your doors, man. And then why are you not in the back of the lot? Like, you're in the middle of the lot? Like, I don't know. That's weird. So that's his story.
Yeah. I mean, my mom did the almost the exact same thing. She, like a guy, like she got in a car and she turned the key and like it wasn't turning. She's like, what the hell? And then she gets a knock on the window, like, and the guy's like, ma'am, you're in my car. And my mom's kind of dense. And so she was like, get away from my car. Like, this is my car, damn it. And it wasn't, it took like,
was he in the car in the back seat?
He was like he was like he just happened to be walking to his car at the same time, and he like knocked on the window of his own car. I was like, man, you're in my car. And she's like, no, I'm not.
This is mine. I had a lady do that to me at the daycare when I was picking my kids up. Actually, I was dropping them off for daycare one morning. As I'm walking back out, I see a lady jump in. Like the daycare that I had like these drive ups, and you would it was like a big circle. And you would drive up and like park your car in front of the door and then get out and take your kids in and drop them off in class. And you come back, jump in your car. You don't park in a parking lot. It's like a drive-through kind of. And so I come back out and I see this lady jump into my car. And I'm like, what the fuck is she like? You know, I'm thinking she's jacking my car. And so I kind of briskly walk out there and she gets back out. She's like, oh my God, I'm so like, you know, total like out soccer mom. I'm so sorry. I thought it was my car. And then I looked and I saw like your stuff and I'm like, oh no, I just, you know, I didn't steal anything. I swear. Just like, it's okay, man. You're fine.
That's awesome.
You're fine. So,
no, I mean, I don't think I have any, like I'm sure I've walked into the women's restroom on accident, maybe once or twice, but I can't really think of.
Really fluff.
Accident. Yeah.
I play Genshin says, what is the best video game theme song ever? That's so easy to answer. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, man. Dun, 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 dun. Everybody knows it.
Like, what? We're talking about like musically complex here. We're not talking about
dude, it's the best theme song, dude. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
I don't know. I don't know.
I can tell you what the best cartoon theme song ever is. Easy.
Oh, Halo.
Halo?
The Halo.
What? I don't
The
even
intro.
know Halo.
Oh my God.
Nobody cares about Halo.
Instant nostalgia is hearing that.
It's the best theme song ever. I'm just gonna take video game off and just say theme song. It's the first original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. When that little sewer lid tone pops out, it's like, and it's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It hits like, dude, best ever, classic, best theme song ever.
Okay.
Yeah. I would, and in all seriousness, for complexity, the Final Fantasy games all have usually really good intro musics, and for me, Final Fantasy VIII actually had some pretty dope intro things going on that brings back the feels. That's it, man. That's all the questions we had. If you guys want to submit questions to the podcast, you can join our Discord servers. If you don't have Twitter, if you do have Twitter and you're not following us already, why not? Stop
Wrong
it.
with you.
The follow button. You can submit the questions. You can message us directly, or you can tweet at the New Meta post. You can join the Discords. There's Ask New Meta sections in our Discords. You can drop your questions in there, and we'll talk. Or if you have just things you think we should talk about on the show, we do go through. I make sure I go through and read the New Meta section before every podcast. I check all the comments. So do it up.
Easy
mode. Thanks for hanging out. My name is ThaPChild. You can catch me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all the places at ThaPChild.
Yeah. And I'm Lord_Fluffy, double those underscores on the Twitter. We'll see you boys next week. Peace out.
Peace.